guys, ESPN in Arkansas. They do a good job.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
Jones for the win. He got it. He got it. He got it. Mason Jones banks in a three with 0.1 seconds to play. Prayer answered.
Hey, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Hope you're doing all right out there. Plenty of yuck out there today across our listening audience. Yep, if you're in western Arkansas, or you're headed that way, or maybe you're over in on the other side of the Arkansas border, over there in the Sooner State, plenty of yuck. Even where I am today in the Rock, it is foggy, it is yucky, it's going to rain. It's pretty much, I got to be honest, pretty much how I'm feeling today. I'm feeling a whole lot of yuck. I don't know, are you one of those people that sort of reflects in the weather or how much sunlight that you can get depending on where you are in the solstice calendar? I'm not usually like that, but today I'm sort of like that. I don't feel like my usual bright self today, Ty. You look fine over there in Fort Smith, even though it's yuck in Fort Smith today too.
Well, they had the window, the blind shut here in the studio, so I don't really see natural sunlight regardless if it's out and about or not. And it's a big week. Got South Carolina coming to Fayetteville tomorrow night. Got a big annual football game that I'm participating in for the first time with my Fort Smith brethren on Sunday before the Super Bowl. I'm excited
brethren
about
now. You've brethren in Fort
somewhat.
Smith.
They tolerate me to a certain extent.
It's been close to 2 years since you made the Fort debut, and now you got brothers.
It's funny.
Brethren and sistren across our listening area, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was looking back to last year because you know how you have the time. I've showed you Time Hop, the app, and for those kind of an older audience, Time Hop.
I've known about Time Hop.
Yeah, you did. Nah, whatever. Just go on. That sometimes don't let facts get in the way of a good story.
What is this Facebook, Twitter, Insta thing, and this TikTok that I keep seeing?
Yeah, TikTok. I'd love to see you make a. Hey, why don't you make a baseball TikTok for us, Phil?
Oh, man. Why don't I just host a radio show instead?
So, staying back, actually, this upcoming weekend is about the time that I was introduced to all these dudes. And it's funny because a couple of them went to the U of A, but most of them went to Southside, Union Christian, Greenwood, and just kind of all the surrounding schools, Lavaca and whatever. But, yeah, it'll be a dandy old football game. Hopefully no one gets hurt. Hopefully, since we're getting a little older and a little fragile, a little more brittle in our
banning kickoffs in your pickup football game.
I don't even know if it's tackle or touch. I'm assuming it's touch. They haven't talked about like pads or anything like that, but it should be a dandy. It should be a barn burner. I think we're gonna play it at it's not the Rebels anymore. What's Southside's what's their mascot? I don't know. I think Southside's Field or whatever.
You're the one with brethren in Fort Smith. I thought
Rangers maybe. Rangers, I think that's it. So they changed it because I guess Rebels is racist.
Come on, they're the Mavericks.
Mavericks, okay, close enough.
Southside Mavericks, that's right. Changed from the Rebels. What has it been now? 3 years?
Yeah.
You're feeling a little bit better than I am. Maybe you're more fired up at the thought of basketball tomorrow. I'm excited about seeing tomorrow's game on the TV in Tuscaloosa. Women's basketball travels to Alabama tomorrow. We got a 7 o'clock game Thursday night. Well, everybody wants to tell you to go to Dreamland, right? There are a few other places to go in Tuscaloosa.
Or Archibald.
To be honest, wherever Mike Neighbors wants to go, I'll just follow. It doesn't matter. I'm happy. I'm easy to please, Ty. Haven't you figured that out here? As long as we have darts at the end of the night or somewhere near the end to middle of the night, I think we'll be just fine. But I know we'll be watching the game. I want to get a conversation with Mike at some point about, and we did on the air after Sunday's victory against Florida, because it was just minutes before tip-off that we found out about, at least the rumors came through. At first it was rumors or reports from TMZ and all the other reports coming through about Kobe Bryant's death amongst those 9 passengers on the helicopter. But I really think there's just the overall American community's been affected by this. The basketball community's been affected by this. You know what I think's been affected more than anything? And you don't even realize the impact upon it, because the young ladies that were on the helicopter who passed were exactly that. They were young. They were young basketball players. Gianna at the top of the list. I have a feeling, and Derek Fisher touched about this, talking about what he thinks would have been the next thing for Kobe Bryant, which would have been fighting for equality in a basketball sense, between women and men, and that his daughter being a 13-year-old star, really, more than anybody, I think she's probably the most famous 13-year-old basketball player, whether man or woman, in this country. You wonder what it could have led to, and I feel like the girls on the Arkansas basketball team could speak to that some. They're closer in age to Gianna, and watched Kobe, throughout his career, but you just have a sense that there would have been a real impact on both the men's game, but specifically in the women's game, and that's because of what Gianna might have turned into. She was, I don't know if she already got the scholarship offer, but she was pretty much going to go to UConn. She and Gino Auriemma had developed a relationship, and Kobe was over there with his daughter to watch a game, and they had a moment of silence for them yesterday at the UConn Team USA game. That's where I think the future impact would have been felt, I think, by the Bryant family. And I think Gianna would have been the one that maybe we're projecting a lot on a 13-year-old, but she might have been the one who led that charge.
Yeah, and not only from just a basketball sense like you're talking about, but for a 13-year-old who has her entire life ahead of her, for that to be tragically ended, like with her and the other passengers that were aboard the plane. And I know that we've only really spoken to Kobe and Gigi to this point, but you also got to feel as it's not going to be as publicized, it's not going to be as talked about, but the other family members and the people that were on that helicopter that passed away, it's just this is not going to be an easy transition, not going to be an easy thing for these family members and their beloved ones to get over because of how just tragic an incident that was happened. And we don't have to necessarily go into the statistics of the miles per hour and stuff, but it's just it was a weird radio show yesterday because, like, coming off the Arkansas win, I was like, that's all we're going to talk about on Monday. It's going to be a great day. You're going to have a lot of excited, positive interaction, and it was a really somber show yesterday because of what happened.
And really in the second hour, we mostly just talked about Arkansas basketball and baseball. But, you really can't ignore the main topic of the day, and this discussion about Kobe and his legacy, good and bad, because there are two sides of this. Is dominating the airwaves in a week where usually, you'd be talking about the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday, which looks like it could be a great game. I haven't paid any attention at all to the Super Bowl hype this week. I'm sure I'll read a little bit more of it as the week goes on. Not like I got a dog in the fight, but we've got something to talk about on this show next week. But all of the people on that plane, on that helicopter, were connected to sports, whether it was John Altobelli, his daughter, and his wife, longtime JUCO baseball coach, and then everybody else on the plane on the helicopter outside of the pilot were connected to women's basketball or girls basketball, really. A coach and a couple of players and one of their moms, and they were on their way to it was a basketball practice. So it's really so much to wrap your head around, and there's so many different avenues to go with the conversation. You almost feel a little bit frozen, in which direction to take it, and that's why I've said, let the national talk shows go with the stats and the stature in basketball and all the moment of silences and stuff like that. I wanted to know, how you felt about everything that's surrounding this, and I mean in the good and the bad, because it's been a couple of days. But if you're going to talk about the legacy of somebody like Kobe Bryant, there are two directions to go in this. And eventually, in the end, in the last, however it's been, 16 years, certainly looked like he turned his life around and became much more of an advocate for women and women's sports. But you can't ignore what did happen 16 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And it's and there's always the when the news release, when someone passes away, there's most of the time when you have someone famous pass away, there's the good and the bad, and you kind of go about it of which side is this news outlet, these channels, these different affiliates, which way are they going to take? And at this point, they've people blasted anyone for bringing up negative stuff about Kobe Bryant, but it's like you said, Phil, you can't just hide that. You can't just brush it aside. Now you don't want to put that on the forefront. You don't want to put that on every cover of the newspaper, every story, and that doesn't need to be the beginning of articles and stuff like that. But I think
the best direction to take this, and I know we're coming up on the break here, is that always a reminder that every hero that we worship, which includes every player at Arkansas, every coach at Arkansas. This is a Razorback Central show. Your heroes are flawed. They're always going to be flawed.
Yeah.
They are never perfect, and some are more imperfect than others, and some are on more of a grand scale than others. But that's what I'm taking from this. It's a reminder that those who we worship in a sports sense are also very complicated figures with negatives too. We'll come back after the break.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime. This is the Morning Rush.
I've just got to believe, I'm taking a blind leap of faith. They're going to coach up what they've got. They're going to make what they've got better. And if they can make that offensive line to at least just a below average SEC level, just get them to that, because they haven't been lately. You put those other pieces around them, and you're going to have an offense that can at least approach average maybe in this league. And that would be a giant improvement from where they've been.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC has over 200 pre-owned vehicles to choose from luxury to economy and everything in between, including over 50 great vehicles with payments under $250 a month, certain to fit your needs and your budget. And at Harry Robinson Buick GMC, you always get more for your trade. 50 vehicles with payments under $250 a month at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off I-540 in Fort Smith.
Kevin Hickey Law has a great team of people who are dedicated to your legal cares. Kevin Hickey's law team is made up of experienced, caring individuals centered around divorce, child and custody, DHS matters, and more, serving the Fort Smith area and Northwest Arkansas. Make the right decision. Call Kevin Hickey Law at 479-434-2414, and for Northwest Arkansas, 479-802-6560, or the web at kevinhickeylaw.com, where our clients are our main priority from start to finish.
Big Ribs are back at TGI Fridays in Fort Smith for a limited time. Get slow cooked, fall off the bone tender big pork ribs for only $12.99 a rack. Your choice, whiskey glazed or barbecue, served with seasoned fries and coleslaw. Only $12.99 for a full rack of big ribs, fries, and coleslaw. Hurry in, because these big ribs won't last long. Big Ribs are back, only $12.99 at TGI Fridays, I-540 and Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Amazing. It's kind of like being showered with cash from above, which would also be pretty amazing. It's so amazing that millions of people a year are getting their cash back matched. They just can't get enough. So whether it's raining down on your head or raining into your bank account, it's your cash back, and Discover is matching it. Discover Cashback Match. What are you waiting for? Learn more at discover.com/match.
The big end of the hunting season sale is underway at Jelco Outdoors. Deer hunters and duck hunters, you can bag some huge savings right now at Jelco Outdoors while they last. Save on clothing, footwear, waders, decoys, scents, rifles, shotguns, bows, crossbows, and lots of accessory items for all your deer and duck hunting trips. Don't miss the end of season sale at Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
6 seconds remain. Madden puts it up. Wow! What a finish! Bobby Portis, the magic man, arrives just in time. The tip in, and zero's on the clock.
All right, I'm going to perk up here. I'm going to perk things up. I'm not going to just be all day long. Usually when you start talking, when you start moving, I feel like I perk up a little bit. So I'm starting to already feel a little bit better. 877-377-6963. If you'd like to help pick me up out of the proverbial yuckness gutter. Do you ever drop in the back of the throat CH sound, Ty? Yuck. To me, it was like I grew up around all kinds of people that couldn't help but say yuck. I mean, it's part of the Hebrew. It's part of the Hebrew language is being able to say that. And then all the old guys that were done playing racquetball at the JCC that just couldn't stop clearing their throats all day long. An involuntary yuck at the same time.
So I don't dip or anything, but I do have this habit when I'm out on the golf course or something of just yakking up like spit and stuff like that. And I'll to be honest, there's
good visuals, bud.
Yeah, there's a fat trash can in studio, and Tommy and John and Matty T can attest to this. Sometimes when I'm walking by, I'll just hawk a loogie and spit it. So I don't know. It clears the mind. It clears the congestion a little bit, even though sometimes I don't have it. It's just natural. It's like you and. I guess you don't really choose sunflower seeds. At any point when you were playing baseball, were you a seeds guy? Were you a dip guy?
Oh, I love sunflower seeds.
Okay.
Love them.
Really
That's one of the things that I'll eat to stay awake late at night when driving. That's like it's there unless they put caffeine in these things. I don't think they do, but for some reason it helps keep me awake. Never did spit tobacco. No, not once. Not once. The smell just it doesn't smell right. I smoked a couple cigarettes as a late teenager. Even in the 20s a little bit, I might have done that too, but still never put the spit tobacco in my mouth.
See, I think dip smells good. I'm just not a huge fan of doing it. I got plenty of friends that do it. And then cigarettes-wise, I told myself I wasn't going to start in high school because I felt like if I started then, I'd keep on going. But I'll have a cigarette every once in a while. It's very rare, but if we're at a bar or something with my buddies and I had one in a while, I'll venture outside and have one with them. It just it's more of a treat for me than like an everyday thing.
Josefa from Fort Smith texts in with a reminder that Palestinians also do the thing, and they do. I know that. I know that's a fact. I don't know. Being in the Mideast, I guess you got to find a way to because it's part of the languages, without question, Hebrew as well. All right. You know what was going on with a little for a while? It was Isaiah Joe shot. You know what it might have turned out to be? A knee injury. It's funny how those things go together, right? You think somebody's in a shooting slump. I'll get the marbles out of my mouth. The shooting slump, but it turns out that something wasn't right, and the shot was off because of that. And Eric Musselman did talk yesterday at his, I was going to say weekly press conference. It feels like he's got 3 or 4 per week.
About bi-weekly, yeah.
Talked about Isaiah Joe, who is not only not going to play against South Carolina, but right now he's spending most of his time on Mark O'Neill's training table.
We haven't done anything. Sunday was off for us. We practiced here in a little bit. He'll suit up and probably do what he did 2 days before our last game, which is kind of nothing, and spend most of the day with Mark, the trainer, and maybe get some shots up or something like that. But he's not on the practice plan.
Hopeful he'll play Wednesday. What would you say is the prognosis?
I don't even know what to say, Bob, because I really, I don't know. We played Saturday. We were off Sunday. Guys are just trickling in now from class, so it's 3 days of spending time with Mark O'Neill, our trainer. And, I think anytime you do anything, if he gets shots up and stuff and then does it swell, I have no idea. If he does limited stuff today, is there swelling tomorrow? Only time I don't know. I'm not a medical.
So Phil, his health, his safety, that's on the beginning of Eric Musselman's checklist. But the question I have to ask, do you really need him for South Carolina?
Okay, we didn't need him for TCU. How long can this team go without their best shooter, right? I mean, the idea of the whole, what is it called? The Patrick Ewing equation?
Patrick Ewing theory, yeah.
The Patrick Ewing theory. And whether it holds true for Isaiah Joe or not, I don't think one game tells you that story. But how long can you go without him? Maybe you don't need him for South Carolina, but then again, this is a South Carolina team that has won at Virginia. I know this isn't, like last year's Virginia or even, your really older brothers, Virginia, of recent years, but a win over Kentucky as well at home. That's something that Arkansas couldn't pull off. This is not a team to take lightly, and really nobody on the schedule is. But then again, you know, a hurt Isaiah Joe, an Isaiah Joe who is not at 100% and can't hit those shots, isn't going to be a help defensively, which is really where this team is so good. And maybe in that case, there is a little addition by subtraction, if and only if he's hurt. Otherwise, this team's better with a healthy Isaiah Joe on the court.
And I think you definitely need him for that Alabama game coming up on Saturday on the road in Tuscaloosa, where you will have just departed probably on that Wednesday night or that Thursday. But I think with this game, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm overlooking South Carolina, the Gamecocks, but this is, I think, another game that you can afford. Now, it looked like the TCU, it looked like you weren't going to be able to afford not to have him. And they came out guns blazing. Desi Sills had the best game, not only of this season, but potentially of his career. And you hope the team responds in a similar to the same way that they get against TCU if Isaiah Joe is a no-go. And I talked about this earlier last week, and I'm not the only one to have touched on this. Isaiah Joe, even if he's not knocking down 50-something% of his threes, what he does in an offense is because everyone at the time is keying in on him. Coaches, different scouting reports are constantly telling the opposing players, don't let this guy get hot, don't let this guy get hot, don't let this guy get hot. So whether you're the on-ball defender or you're off-ball defender, you're always aware of where that guy is. Sometimes if there's a non-switch or miscommunication, both guys jump out to Joe. That creates a cutting lane or a wide-open guy. He is so instrumental in this offense, not only when he has the ball and he's stroking it, but even off the ball, because all the attention, all the eyes, not all the eyes, but a lot of the eyes are on Isaiah Joe, Phil.
There's also, I think, something to be seen. Yeah, they're going to have to scout for him if they think he's healthy at first. But then if you can tell early in a game that something's not right, a guy's shot is off. And I know Joe's been, you know, first half hot, first half cold, second half hot this season. Virtually the entire year it's been that way. So you think maybe, you know, at the drop of a hat, once you get into the second half, he can start knocking him down. But, you know, if he's not at full strength, you don't have to defend him at full strength either. And so, again, I think only if he's not healthy is there a little addition by subtraction. But unless he somehow magically gets better in the next 24 hours, I mean, they're planning on playing without him. He's not practicing right now. And I think that if he's not practicing a day before this game, you're going to end up with a second day in a row without him out there. So, I mean, and the other thing that was interesting, too, is that Muss also talked about that there would have been a lineup change even if Isaiah Joe was healthy. So there would have been a change in the lineup. Who would have been sitting? It was Desi. Desi was going to come off the bench. He was an assassin coming off the bench. You know, you went with your two forwards. This has to be the only game all season where Arkansas started two forwards. I mean, what? They only have three real forwards on the roster anyway. So are you going to end up with the same starting lineup that you saw against TCU? Do you still have Desi coming off the bench? Some guys just seem to thrive when coming in as a sixth man. Maybe Desi's a player just like that.
First guy I think of, and as far as the NBA goes, is Lou Williams. That's kind of been his role for quite some time. He often is the first guy off the bench and then finishes the game with whatever team he's on. And so I think when you look at Desi Sills, he started towards the end of last season. He started every game this season up to the TCU game. You were curious, just like Eric Musselman was, how does this guy respond? Is this guy dejected when he comes on the floor? Does he play scared? He was anything but that on Saturday. So now maybe he can carve out his niche being the sixth man, giving him a little more offense, because that's the best shooting performance he's had since arriving at Arkansas. Maybe it was a abnormal, maybe it was just a one-time thing, but you hope as an Arkansas fan, you hope that can be more of a consistent thing. If he's okay with coming off the bench, and obviously it's Eric Musselman's decision whether he does or not, that could be big just for the rotation of this program, because your offense has not been what it needs to be as far as bench production goes, Phil. He could potentially add to that if he ends up coming off the bench and delivering like he did against TCU the rest of the season.
Well, it's 1 of 12 games left. I figure you get 8-9 wins. You're going to be out of that 8-9 first-round game, which you, of course, so desperately want to avoid.
Got Ohio. Let's see. You had in Lenardi's bracket, I think you were matched up against Ohio State, which I promise you don't want to play Chris Holtman's squad, regardless of what you think of them this year. And then I can't remember the one they were slated up against. But, yeah, avoid that 8-9 seed. You don't want it because you don't want to match up against the 1 seed in that second round, Phil.
Carolina also, just like Arkansas, 3-3 in the SEC. Although the Hogs number 28 net ranking, pretty far ahead of South Carolina at 89. This has been a weird year for South Carolina. Home loss to Boston University. Pardon me, that wasn't a home loss. It was in Cancun. So you want to throw away the fact that it was BU, the Terriers, that they lost to. So still, a loss to Boston U, blown out at home against admittedly a good Houston team, win by 11 at Virginia, and then 8 days later lose at home to Stetson. Lose to Florida and Tennessee, beat Kentucky on a half-court heave, pretty much a half-court heave at the buzzer, beat A&M, lose at Auburn, and then crushed Vanderbilt, which right now everybody's doing.
And Stetson, if I remember correctly, that's Corey Williams' old school. That's where
correct.
He was the head coach. And also Baby. That's also where he played, if I remember that correctly. So you got 2 Stetson guys that are now on the current roster. One is one is an assistant coach, one is a former coach. But yeah, Frank Martin, his teams are tough. They foul. They're like 340th, I think, in fouls against opponents this year.
Yeah, they're being outscored to the foul line 19-12.
Wow. So Arkansas is going to have to knock their free throws down tomorrow because the Gamecocks are going to put them on the line. It's just a matter if they convert or not, Phil.
I got a great quote, even though Eric Musselman wasn't really trying to give a great quote about his experience with Frank Martin, which is limited to, I think, just passing each other inside the workout facilities and hotels at basketball tournaments. So, I mean, he talks so much about relationships with a lot of the other coaches in the SEC. There's like zero relationship other than, hey, maybe you want to wipe off that bar so I can get up there and lift. All right, we'll talk football recruiting with Nikki Chavanel from Rivals right after this break.
A show that lives up to the hype. You're listening to Halftime.
New Bud Light Seltzer, huh?
Yep.
And it tastes like a hard seltzer, not a beer?
Yep.
So it's light and refreshing?
Yep.
With a hint of fruit flavor?
Yep.
And 100 calories?
Yep.
You said this is Bud Light Seltzer?
Yep.
Well, I need to try it.
Yep.
Oh, that tastes great.
Yep.
Now, wait, are you just yupping me?
Nope.
Bud Light Seltzer, unquestionably good. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Seltzer, IRC Beers, beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here with a better way to drive at Rath Auto Resources. New year, new you? That's a lot of pressure. How about new year, new ride? Now we can make that happen. Just resolve to start driving better in the Rath Road Ready vehicle that's perfect for you, like a 2018 Toyota Corolla LE or a 2018 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. Your choice, just $14,993 and make no payments till spring. If you're like me and your holiday was sponsored by your credit card, that should give you more breathing room than losing a pant size. Waiting on a tax refund? Ask one of our non-commissioned solution specialists how you can use your W-2 to start driving better now. If you're keeping your current ride, our Meineke Car Care Center is there to make sure your car outlasts that new gym membership with buy 3, get 1 free on all tires and a basic oil change for only $24.95. Start driving better today with no payments till spring at Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online at rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price affects trade allowance.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging. Do you hate your current mailing machine? Is dealing with that giant company not worth the effort any longer? That's the issue we had at Dixie Digital. While looking for a better solution for our own use, we partnered with FP for mailing and mailroom solutions. We now offer access to FP's entire line of postage machines, folder inserters, software, and more. Local service with a local company. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit our website at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing document innovations to the River Valley.
Is your home at least 10 years old and served by OG&E? OG&E is offering Arkansas customers a free weatherization program to increase your comfort and lower your bills. A trained crew will perform an energy audit at no cost to you, and if your home qualifies, our crews will install measures that will save you money. The services provided through this program are absolutely free to qualifying homes. If you could benefit from free home weatherization improvements, call OG&E at 1-800-272-9741. That's 1-800-272-9741.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Hey, City!
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Did Daniel Gabbard just go Euro step finger roll? Oh, no. You have got to be kidding me. Nice little okey-doke.
Ready, set, go. Because Sam Pittman and his recruiting staff, his entire staff, pretty much doing exactly that. Zigzagging all across the Southeast and Arkansas as well, as they try to, at least in their minds, cement the commitments that they already have, visiting some kids that they needed to visit about a week before National Signing Day, which we've been calling Late Signing Day. So let's talk about it with Nikki Chavanel from Rivals. Hi, Nikki. It's almost Late Signing Day. Remind us how many commits Arkansas has right now, and give me like a number that you think could be a realistic number that they could finish with by the end of next Wednesday as far as commitments.
Yeah, so they've got 16 commits right now, and they could get anywhere from 22 to 25. I'm honestly not counting out any surprises this year because this staff, they're just a lot more quiet about their whereabouts, where they're going. If you notice on Twitter, I think Coach Steph, which makes sense because he's from the last staff, he's the only one that's been posting, like, where he's at. The rest of the guys, like, I know that they were in Florida and they just sent out a ton of offers there, but we didn't actually know they were there until those offers started going out. So it's been very interesting, but, yeah, they have 16 now. They could go up to 22 is what I have them projected at, minus surprises or any kind of late additions, but I think that's the number right now.
So what would you classify as the most probable of the big surprises that Arkansas fans might be hopeful for? Because, I mean, they're going after some players pretty much because these guys respect Sam Pittman or already had committed to him somewhere else. What do you think would be the most probable big surprise?
Well, I think a lot of people are already hoping for this, but I think Malik Hornsby would be a very nice signing day surprise for everybody. Right now I have Arkansas leading, but he hasn't taken his official visit to Baylor yet. So who knows how much sway Dave Aranda is going to have over there. He's never really interacted with him much, and he's a defensive guy. And then there are just several other guys that it's kind of a toss-up right now, but I think Jalen St. John is going to be a very, very big signing day get for Arkansas. I definitely have him leaning towards the Hogs. He was a Missouri commit, 4-star offensive lineman, and given that he was committed to Brad Davis at Missouri, he's already officially visited here, I think he's going to pick Arkansas, but he does still have to visit Florida State this weekend still. And I know that a lot of people are wondering about the offensive line situation since Robert Scott decided to go to Florida State, but there's still some guys out there.
Talking with Nikki Chavanel of Rivals and Hogbeat here on Halftime. Nikki, you mentioned to me during the commercial break how Arkansas didn't necessarily have the best signing day per se last year because some of the guys they thought they were going to get, they ended up not. But you're feeling a little differently about this year in 2020.
Yeah, well, so there is one guy that I still think it might, or two guys that I still think might let us down. They might let us down before signing day. Brandon Frazier, the tight end who was just here. I just have a feeling he's headed to Auburn. He might decide in the next few days, so before signing day. And then Savion Williams, who was a commit here, wide receiver. He got a late Texas offer. He's from Texas, and then he also has TCU and Texas Tech recruiting him really hard. So those are the only two that I think might not go Arkansas's way ahead of signing day. But other than that, Marcus Henderson, he's a 3-star offensive lineman from Tennessee. So Ole Miss is also recruiting him. But they kind of have an idea. They might play him at tight end. He's like 300 pounds, so that would be very interesting. They have told him he could play tight end or play on defense, so it kind of is up to him whether he wants to be an offensive lineman right away. And here at Arkansas, he would have the chance to play immediately on the offensive line. So I think Arkansas is going to get him, and that'll be a nice surprise. And then Alan Horace, who was committed to Arkansas before. I mean, this could go several different ways, but I still like Arkansas's chances with him over Ole Miss, who he doesn't really know very well yet, and then UTSA. I mean, it's just such a different level of football that you're playing. I don't think it would be too hard to convince him to play at the SEC level instead.
So, Nikki, I saw you and some others kind of joking about this yesterday. The new kicker commit out of Missouri, Vito Calvaruso, is that how you pronounce his name?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, and then Richard Thomas, I think, was the one that also got an offer from Arkansas. They both said, and Calvaruso has since changed his tweet, Arkansas University. I have not seen anyone say that to this point. As someone who follows recruiting, do a lot of kids initially say blessed to receive an offer from Arkansas University sometimes when they put stuff on social media?
I just don't think they give it much thought. They don't really, I mean, I wouldn't say a lot of kids do it, but they just don't really think it's a big deal. And then you see the fan base react to it, and they hate it. I mean, is there an Arkansas University? Is there one? I don't think so, right?
No, hey, I went to Indiana University for 2 years. I can't tell you how peeved all of us were as students when it would be referred to as the University of Indiana.
That's so weird.
Why is that like that?
I don't know. It's just like, call it what it's really called, blah, blah, blah. You got to be angry about something, right?
Yeah, but glad he got that fixed, even though I had already quote tweeted him, but that's okay.
Nikki, I want to ask you something. Just touch on something you hit on about this coaching staff compared to Chad Morris's staff as far as their being out there on social media as far as recruiting goes. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if can you extrapolate something about this coaching staff? There's a lack of flashiness, I think, that I'm detecting, where I sensed a little bit of a look at us from the other coaching staff. Or could it just be tied to just not wanting to be so public about where you are as far as recruiting? Am I looking too deep into this?
Well, I think there's always a little bit of that in recruiting. You do want to keep it more stealthy, but I just don't think they're very concerned about the public needing to know who they're after all the time and all their movements. I think they would rather just have the good news come when they decide to commit instead of like constant hype, because that constant hype can often lead to disappointment. Like if you bring in Broderick Jones, a 5-star offensive lineman, and then you don't get him, it's that kind of situation where it was good news, but now everyone's disappointed. And when you miss on Robert Scott, they're like, well, you could get a 5-star to campus, but why couldn't you keep the in-state kid in-state? Well, he didn't want to stay here. He was always kind of leaning towards leaving the state of Arkansas. So there's good and bad from having a lot of openness about recruiting.
Through the long and the short of whatever this recruiting class turns out to be, just the fact that there are 16 commits now and a possible, did you say 21 or 22 when you first came on? This staff deserves some accolades just for the numbers alone, it feels, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they've been working very, very hard. They've been using connections that they had at their previous stops and kind of building bridges, because that's what you have to do when you have this little amount of time to recruit. I mean, all these prospects around the nation, the high-level ones, whoever they're going to, they've been recruited by that school for many years, so they had to rely on past connections and then finding kids like Kari Johnson, the kid that plays at a Connecticut prep school. Like, he wasn't really on a lot of people's radars, but he had visited Arkansas and reached out to them, and those are the kind of opportunities you have to definitely go for when you have such little time to recruit.
Nikki, real quick before we let you go, if you had to guesstimate how many hours of sleep the main coaching staff gets heading into National Signing Day next Wednesday, what would you say average per day that you think they're going to get sleep-wise?
I'd probably say like 5 or 6 hours. It's not too bad. I'm sure they find times to sleep on the plane and stuff, but other than that, they've got to be texting everybody, texting the mom, the dad, the grandmother, the coach. Like, it's all about communicating with these players and knowing what's up so that you are not surprised on signing day and you know what your numbers are going to look like.
Nikki, Ty, do you think we can all agree that there's nobody on campus that's getting less sleep than Eric Musselman? He's so out there about that. I mean, it's like on a good day, he's getting like 4 hours.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see anybody getting that little sleep right now.
Yeah, I mean, and it shows. They've already gotten better than he thought they would, so must be working.
That's right. Huh? If you can correlate lack of sleep to wins, I think Muss would be a 24-hour-a-day guy. I really do.
Yeah,
all right, Nikki.
I think so too.
We appreciate you always for coming on here. Have a great rest of the week, and good luck getting everything revved for late signing day next Wednesday.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
You got it. Nikki Chavanel,
Phil,
Rivals.com, joining us every Tuesday.
Before we go, we talk about the lack of sleep that the coaches are going to get. Nikki's not going to give me hours of sleep next week with all the recruiting stuff she's going to put out.
Ah, that's true. That's true. That'll have to correlate as well. 877-377-6963. Get with Halftime after the break.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime.
Joe's Grilling Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half price. And all beers on tap are half price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grilling Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
It's a new year, a time for fresh starts and positive changes. Let us help your vehicle reflect your good vibes by making it look its best. If you find yourself a victim of the winter weather, we will work with your insurance company and help you throughout the process. We offer a lifetime warranty and a complete interior detail with all repairs. We can quickly restore cloudy headlights, making them look like new and brightening your road for better vision on these dark winter nights. Think of us at Evans Body Shop when you need any auto body repairs.
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
Look your best with Perfecto Cleaners at the bottom of Fiena Hills. Count on same-day service, easy drive-through cover drop-off and pickup window, and fast turnaround on alterations. Perfecto Cleaners always goes the extra mile to ensure your clothes look their best, making you look your best. Be sure to clip their coupons in the yellow pages, and as always, in by 9 and out by 5 Monday through Friday. Perfecto Cleaners, just off Jenny Lind at the bottom of Fiena Hills. Perfecto Cleaners, making you look your best.
Welcome to Sprint.
Hi, I've got an important travel week planned out, and I'm looking for a tablet to entertain my kid on a long flight. Any suggestions?
Yes, right now through January 26th at Sprint, you can get a Samsung Galaxy Tab A 10.1 on us when you add unlimited data for just $25 per month.
Whoa, that would keep him busy for hours.
And when you switch, you'll also get $100 via prepaid MasterCard.
No way. I'm rounding up my whole family, and we'll be right back.
Now through January 26th, get a Samsung Galaxy Tab A 10.1 on us and get $100 when you switch. That's now through January 26th, only at Sprint. Visit your local Sprint store to learn more.
Requires port and 60 days of service before card ships. Card terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Member FDIC. Tab A $0 per month after 14/17 monthly credit for 24 months credit. Apply within 2 bills. Requires new line on qualifying plan. If you cancel early, your remaining balance due. Unlimited plan. Date of your prioritization and speed maximums apply. Excludes tax and roaming.
You're telling me there is a place?
3 places, 2 in Fort Smith, 1 in Van Buren.
That can do everything to my pickup?
And my car. Jody'sAuto.com can do everything, from oil changes and maintenance to repairs. All repairs. They'll even tow it in and then fix it if your truck breaks down on the road. One-stop everything.
What about tires?
All the best brands. These people really know tires and have free flat repair and free road hazard. Best prices on tires anywhere. Price match guarantee.
Okay, so what's the catch? I bet they don't do financing, right?
Nope, wrong again. Jody'sAuto.com has the best credit card in the car care industry, and you can apply online.
Jody'sAuto.com voted best of the best for customer service, and a big part of that is convenience. One stop for everything. 3 oil change specials, tires, service, repair, maintenance, towing, and fleets. 3 locations since 1984. Convenience and trust. Jody'sAuto.com.
This is Mark Hurst. How important is your smile? I recently read a study that said 61% of adults are attracted to someone by their smile alone. Another said that 48% of adults have untagged themselves from a photo on Facebook because of their smile. At Hurst Family Dental Care, we want you to be proud of your smile. Give us a call at 474-1972 and let us talk to you about improving your smile with cosmetic dentistry options ranging from in-office bleaching to braces to porcelain crowns and veneers. Hurst Family Dental Care, a name you know and a name you can trust.
This is ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
21-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. A Liberty stop block by Bailey. He went in for a one-hand flush, and Bailey blocked the shot.
Arkansas and South Carolina tomorrow, 7:30. So it's a little bit of a late tip-off. Kind of split the difference between the Goldilocks time for a tip-off, 7 o'clock, and the one that fits better for the SEC network, which is usually the 8 o'clock tip. I think 7:30 works okay. We'll have it right here, 7 o'clock for the airtime on the Learfield IMG pregame show. One of only 6 home games remaining for Arkansas basketball. The women only have 4 home games left. It's incredible. I mean, the basketball season is nearing its frenzy pitch. One of the things that always gets asked at the basketball press conferences these days is about relationships. And I think this is the case at every basketball press conference involving coaches who've been around for a while. But I mean, what's one of the stories of this year's team? And it's not to say that the head coach isn't always a story on any team, but this year more than most, it feels like Eric Musselman is. I mean, he's the story of this year's team. We could talk about Jimmy Witt, and we could talk about Desi Sills and Mason Jones and all of these guys and Isaiah Joe. Eric Musselman is the lead story of this year's basketball team. That's an easy thing to say, right, Ty?
Yeah, I think that's good. And I was actually going back and forth to this last night, listening to both his press conference and Jimmy Witt. And I love listening to Must Talk. And I think of the campus, and I know you're partial to Dave, and I know some people are partial to Sam Pittman. He's easily my favorite coach to listen to, maybe because basketball's higher up on the scale. But I'll tell you one, a guy I like to listen to more, and I think it's hard to put someone in that category. It's Jimmy Witt. If you listen to him in post-game press conferences, pregame, he is so articulate. He is so – you can tell he's a senior by the way he goes about his business, by the way he lays things out. I thought the best quote from him this season so far is when he was asked – I think Bob asked him about expectations, and he said, our expectation is to overexceed our expectations. And I was just like, whoa. That's just awesome. I've really enjoyed listening to him, and I think he's kind of a reflection of Eric Musselman and what he's been able to do when it comes to talking to press off the court.
Well, and must return the favor with a lot of high praise for Jimmy Witt as a defender and as a teammate and as a locker room influence, and was also upfront about the thought that, look, he's not somebody that's going to go in the NBA draft, which is only 2 rounds, but he's somebody that potentially could make an NBA squad through a training camp situation, and it's because of his ability to defend and how hard he plays in practice and how good of a teammate he is. So it's not like he's going to go up there and fill Jimmy's head with thoughts that don't have any real basis. But that's some high praise coming from a coach who's been there and knows what an NBA player is like.
And he said he compared him. He said there's not a college guard in the country that I think can do more defensively than Jimmy Witt. He also said of the players he's coached over the years, the only NBA-level type defender is Cody Martin, who's currently, I think, playing for the Hornets, if I remember that correctly, and then Jimmy Witt. That's pretty high praise coming from Eric Musselman in terms of how he plays defense. And I think that the fact that he's doing this on top of giving them sometimes 20 on the offensive end, doing it so efficiently on that side of the ball. Phil, he's also played 40. He's playing 40-minute games sometimes. He's had 3 of those this season. So his fitness is incredible. He's a two-way player, and he's likable off the court. That bodes well for an NBA locker room if he ends up getting to that point.
It'll be interesting to see how they match up against Carolina. Whit's going to be guarding A.J. Lawson. The leading scorer for any opponent, Jimmy's on him.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really seem to matter, by the way, if that leading scorer is 6'10" or 6'9".
He's got a 7-foot wingspan. It's incredible.
And that's really something else, which you can tell. You can tell how long those arms are when he's taking his fadeaway shot, because he'll stick that ball way up. But Carolina, I don't know if deep is the right way to use it, but they use a lot of players. We'll put it that way. Frank Martin has 11 players averaging 10 minutes or more, and nobody averaging more than 30.5 minutes. So there's going to be a lot of rotations, a lot of substitutions. Martin, obviously, a very good coach. But I wanted to play this soundbite from the press conference yesterday in which Musselman was asked about any relationship he has with Frank Martin, and I just got some interesting visuals from his answer.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in different situations, like in health clubs, at the Final Four a couple different times, and just had those type of conversations, but certainly don't have the relationship with Coach Martin that I do with people like, Tom Crean and Coach Cal and even Rick Barnes. I mean, so I can't comment if I really don't know someone really well.
I got enough of a comment that I needed there. Just the thought of an Eric Musselman, Frank Martin workout conversation, because I mean, Muss is kind of well known for these. What are they? Daily 2-hour workouts? I mean, he's kind of a workout buff. And if it's as intense as he is during games, and as intense of a person as he seems to be, you'd think those workouts are also pretty intense. I don't know. I get the sense that Frank Martin is just as intense, if not more so. And with that, I think his eyebrow could lift 50 pounds. But could you imagine with that? I mean, I know I've been to basketball tournaments and everything where you end up bumping into a broadcaster or a coach in the workout facility. You don't know what to say to the guy. It's like, hey,
I saw Feinbaum at media days.
I see you're running 15 miles an hour. Well done. Hey. But he's supposed to talk about at that point. They don't really have any relationship at all. So today will be the start of it, or tomorrow will be the start of it.
See, you mentioned Eric Musselman's work ethic. It was last weekend or the weekend before that I was up in Fayetteville for a game, and I drove past the basketball practice facility. Got a lot of good memories there. Had a buddy that used to be a manager, so we'd get to go play there a lot. And it was funny because I was talking to a couple of guys who were still managing for the basketball team, and they said they can't do that anymore because he's just always there. And so the reason we got to do it last year is because Mike and the assistant coaches and the other players, they wouldn't necessarily be there as much. But I drove by at 10:30 at night, and Musselman's still at the practice facility. His car is still parked where it is. And I think, like, work ethic-wise, you talk about the workout, 5 a.m., 2 hours cardio and work, like just that. Like, I'm exhausted after 1 hour. This guy's making me look like a 10-year-old when it comes to my workout regimen. But I think the players respect that. And I think the coaching profession respects that. You haven't heard, at least from, and maybe I haven't done a good enough research in this aspect, but you haven't heard really many coaches speak down about Eric Musselman or give kind of snarky, snideful comments. And I know that's not necessarily prevalent when it comes to coaches talking about other coaches in a bad way, but I think that's also reflective of him in his work ethic and how he's respected not only the professional level, but now since he's been in college, this will be his 5th year at the collegiate level as well.
There was another really good quote, and this goes to the strategy that Muss employs at the end of basketball games. You noticed it in the TCU game Saturday when they started to slow the pace down with about 5.5 minutes left and a lead up to 13, 14 points. Arkansas is not a walk-it-up-the-floor team, but this is part of Eric Musselman's strategy that he employed at Nevada. Nate Allen asked the question, and Musselman gave a little explanation on to why and how they're going to milk that clock.
Yeah, the milking the clock at the 6-minute mark, if you kind of go in your own head and say, all right, there's 6 minutes left, we run the shot clock down to 4 or 5 on the shot clock, how many defensive stops do we need? I'm not very good in math, but I got some guys on the bench that are really good, and so I'll ask how many stops we need, and if we need, say, 10 stops out of 15 possessions, you're not going to do it. But if it's a good number that I know we can get stops, I know a lot of the Mountain West coaches they know that the success of milking the clock with 6 minutes to go, because I got a lot of text messages about when I took this job that they were glad they didn't have to sit and watch the air get taken out of the ball. So has not lost us a game in 4 years.
Yeah, and so what's tantamount when it comes to milking the clock? You got to be a really good defensive team for one, because you got to continue to generate stops, and you can't turn it over offensively when you do get your open look. It's not a matter of necessarily scoring. It's a matter of wasting as much time as possible, not turning the ball over, which can lead to fast break buckets. I think this is the kind of team, Ty, that can employ this exact strategy. Not every team can do it, but this Arkansas team can.
It kind of reminds me of like Dean Smith's old Ford Corners. You remember that when they would be up in a game? And at one point there wasn't a shot clock in college, so they could just sit there until they got fouled or you try to get a steal or something. And because the shot clock's now 30 in college, 20 if it resets after an offensive rebound, you don't get as much time to do that. But it's the philosophy, just like he spoke to, just like you mentioned, that if we don't make mistakes, if we don't turn the ball over and give you easy buckets, you're going to run out of time and you're not going to be able to win this ball game. It's hard to watch because they haven't necessarily got the best shots and they haven't their offense as efficient as they can be at offensive times. They're definitely not efficient because you're limiting your opportunities, narrowing it down to 10 or less seconds, and then go in from there. And sometimes you get contested shots and it's just harder to score. But if it gets you a win, it gives you a win. It doesn't have to necessarily be pretty. This basketball team has not been pretty this year for the most part. They've grinded out wins, and they've been able to come up fortunate in a lot of big games. It doesn't necessarily – you don't have to be the most attractive team in college basketball.
The win-loss records are pretty attractive right now.
You just got to win games. Like I have one friend of the program that always is like, no, Arkansas needs to be a high-flying, high-scoring team. No, they just have to win games. Virginia wins games. They sell out that arena. It doesn't matter what kind of basketball you play if you win games.
Well, the Hogs will try to make it the 16th win tomorrow against South Carolina, 7:30, and of course it's right here on ESPN Arkansas. Plenty coming up in the second hour. Your calls and texts. We talk with Matt Jones from the Democrat Gazette at the bottom of the hour about some baseball scrimmage stuff. 877-377-6963 is our number for calls and texts. We will come back right after this.
You know what goes great with your favorite football event? Fresh craft beer from Sody's Wine and Spirits. Taste what's on tap and fill up a growler to go. Shop online at mysodys.com and pick up in the drive-thru. Go team! Watch the big game on the biggest screen at Uncorked, starting at 2 o'clock on Sunday, February 2nd. Featuring 40 crafts on tap, plus your domestic favorites, and a special game day menu. The best party in town is at Uncorked on Phoenix Avenue next to Sody's.
Did someone say, I'm hungry? Visit 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Try the new panini sandwiches like the Chicken Pyro or the Cubana or the signature 906 wings. Jumbo wings roasted with honey bacon jam. Want some spice? Try the black and blue wings. Experience their salads, flatbreads, coffees and desserts, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Treat your appetite on the Avenue.
Hi, this is Phil Elson. Join me for a live halftime show January 31st at Crabtree RV in Alma, hosting the Greater Fort Smith RV, Boat, and Outdoor Shows. Compare top brands of travel trailers and fifth wheels, bass, ski, pontoon boats, great deals on golf carts, mowers, side-by-sides, four-wheelers, and outdoor clothing and equipment. It's the Greater Fort Smith RV, Boat, and Outdoor Show at Crabtree RV in Alma from January 31st through February the 8th. Exit 13 off I-40 in Alma, where your family's dreams come true.
Well, the new year is in full swing and it's business as usual. But it doesn't have to be. If you're stuck with an old phone system or an old slow internet connection, chances are the technology curve has passed you by. Why not let Pinnacle Telecom help you get back up to speed? With lightning-fast fiber internet connections and IP phone systems, Pinnacle Telecom can ensure you're not left behind. Get 4 new IP phones for as little as $99 per month. Check us out at PinnacleTelecom.com. Pinnacle Telecom, tomorrow's technology today.
World-class trout fishing is the star of the show at Gaston's White River Resort, where a few days away from all the worries and stress will make all right in your world. Gaston's has friendly, experienced guides to help you land your limit. Enjoy your stay at Gaston's in one of their private cottages or reserve a lodge for up to 20 people. Call now and let Gaston's help you plan your next getaway on the White River. 870-431-5202. That's 870-431-5202. Or learn more at Gastons.com. Gaston's, a first-class time, every time.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
An increase in the clouds tonight. An overnight low will drop down low 30s north, closer to 40 south. Could see a little bit of moisture early on Tuesday. Rain becomes a lot more likely in the afternoon. Our high temperatures low 40s north, upper 40s south, and then just a slight chance of rain on Wednesday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
I hate everything you just said. KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Busch Light Studios on ESPN 95.3.
They're hilarious.
You guys are awesome, baby. You have these guys, ESPN in Arkansas. They do a good job.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
Jones for the win. He got it. He got it. He got it. Mason Jones banks in a three with 0.1 seconds to play. Prayer answered.
Hey, hold on. It's almost halftime.
877-377-6963 on a yucky Tuesday. Getting yuckier by the moment, but I'm feeling okay now. After
Feel
about
better?
an hour of sports talk, I feel pretty good. Yep.
What'd you eat today? Is that the
Not
issue?
Not enough.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's like those Snickers commercials. I think I get a little hangry without realizing it.
I had a little small chicken pot pie before we came on the show, a little frozen one. So I'm
it usually does
also
work.
hungry.
If I find myself like growling at trees, snarling at the clouds, and just generally being somebody that's unpleasant to be around, if I eat something, that'll help. That helps more often than not.
See, I learned when I first started doing the show with you that if I eat like a big time lunch or something, I start getting sleepy or groggy during the show. So I try and eat lighter before the show and then eat dinner, kind of up the ante a little bit when it comes to the meal intake at dinner.
Because for about 2 hours there, you're not going anywhere, right?
Yeah. So I got to sit here, and you're not exercising, you're not activities, so you just kind of sit here, and you don't want to get into that like slumber where you're just like, ugh. So you gotta be energized, you gotta be ready to go, and so I try not to eat as hungry as I typically am in the mornings and the afternoons. I try not to eat as much because it ruins the show, Phil. And I don't want to do that to you or listeners.
No, definitely not to me. Forget about the listeners, right?
Yeah.
Who's hungry for AP votes? Arkansas basketball. 2 weeks ago, the Hogs got 65 votes, and what would that be, like the 28th most votes? I know that doesn't mean they're ranked number 28, but that means they got the 28th most votes, which should mean like the same thing, right? Last week, 19 votes. That after a home win against Vandy and the loss against Kentucky. Now after a loss at Mississippi State and an impressive home win against TCU, Arkansas gets fewer votes. 16 fewer votes than last week. Only 3 votes in this week's AP Writers Poll. And that ties Arkansas with Jimmy Witt's former school, SMU, and a team that Arkansas destroyed at home this year, Tulsa. That was a 21-point win. So the Mustangs, the Golden Hurricane, and Arkansas all getting 3 votes in the poll. And I thought of Tulsa when you brought up this kicker who's called Arkansas University. Because Tulsa does it to themselves, They want to be referred to as TU because they don't want to be UT, which I guess Tulsa's too close to Texas to refer to yourself as UT.
Mm-hmm.
But they are not Tulsa University. They're the University of Tulsa. They just don't have their logo properly aligned that way. So get off my lawn, TU.
So Arkansas's had some chances this year to be in the top 25. If they would have beaten Kentucky on Saturday last weekend, they would have been in the top 25. And I think
that could have gotten them at least 2 weeks in the top 25, no matter what happened against Mississippi State.
And I think if they would have beaten Mississippi State and then did what they did against TCU, that would have also put them in the top 25. Now, as you mentioned, they got some games coming up that could help them get in the AP's good graces, Phil.
That's right. All right, so there are 12 games left in the regular season, and Arkansas has 6 of those games at home. The 6 road games, to be quite honest here, these all look very winnable. Alabama, now look, that doesn't mean you're going to win all of them. I don't think they will. I think there's a very good chance that the Hogs end up either 4-2 over the next 6 road games, and at worst, 3-3. Alabama's a game that's winnable but losable too, depending on if the Crimson Tide can do something that no team has done this year against Arkansas, which is hit a bunch of three-pointers. That's how Alabama does their thing. You should win at Mizzou. In fact, Arkansas gets Missouri twice. You're going to win both of those games.
Yeah.
You go to Tennessee. I think if you split with Tennessee because they visit Bud Walton Arena, you're in a good position. Florida, to me, is the only game out here that I look at and I say, I don't know if I see it. And they are a bad matchup for Arkansas. They got Twin Towers there at Florida, and that's not going to be a good matchup for Arkansas. Georgia on the road, A&M on the road, winnable games. Should be winnable. And, in fact, right now, scribble a little pencil on your schedule with a W in those ball games. So the 6 road games all winnable. At home, Auburn, LSU, and Mississippi State are all, to me, question marks. As we've already seen what LSU does. I mean, I wouldn't think Arkansas's minus 26 on the boards again, but that's a really good LSU. What have they won? 22 of their last 24 SEC games?
Been unbelievable.
There's a reason behind that. It ain't luck. I know they've been lucky, but at this point, you're lucky and you're good at the same time. Mississippi State's a bad matchup for Arkansas. Auburn can get hot. Your easier games are on the road, but I do see a pathway to Arkansas getting 8. I think 8 wins is reasonable out of these next 12. That puts you at 23 before the tournament. A win or 2 in Nashville, and I think you're looking at a 7 seed.
That's as long as you're not in that 8-9 slot. That's what I want. You don't want to be on. You almost don't want to be on the 5 spot based on how many times it seems like the 12 spot wins that. But just looking at the standings right now, LSU 6-0 in conference, Kentucky's 5-1, Auburn, Alabama, Florida, and Tennessee are 4-2, and then Mississippi State, South Carolina, and A&M are 3-3. Don't really worry about the bottom 4. I'm kind of with you. With those games you laid out, Phil, I think Florida is the only one that I'm just really against, that I don't think Arkansas necessarily has a good chance to win that ball game, but I think we've seen to this point that even at Mississippi State, it's probably, did you say Mississippi State's the worst game they played so far this season? Is that fair? Because, 2 to LSU.
That sounds right.
2 to LSU, and then Western Kentucky OT, and then I guess Kentucky, you really reeled that last 8 minutes, but you still look like you were going to have a chance to win that ball game. So I'd probably say Mississippi State, the way Reggie Perry dominated. But, the schedule, next Tuesday, Auburn, that's a game, and I know Auburn's lost 2 out of their last 3 maybe, but that's a game that's going to be hyped, and that's a game that Arkansas fans need to be loud and show up for. I know it's a midweek game. I know it's a little harder for fans to get out there, but that's a game you need to be in attendance for because it's one of the better teams in the SEC, and it's a chance Arkansas could get a massive win in the Southeastern Conference.
Well, Florida's just got too much size, for having to travel all the way there. And look, I'm not saying Arkansas can't win that game. I think that this team has shown the ability to maybe rise up and surprise, Florida on the road. But just the way the matchup looks, it's not a good matchup for the Razorbacks. Bama, Mizzou, Tennessee, Georgia, A&M, those are not the same sort of matchups you'll get with the size that Florida puts out there. And, in fact, from one of our listeners here, OK Hog Fan in Oklahoma, says Warren Nolan predicts the next loss is Florida on February the 18th. So between now and then, if I can pull my trusty schedule up, if I can remember where the heck I put the darn thing. Here it is. You get between now and then Carolina, Alabama, Auburn, Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi State. That's 6 games until the Florida game. So if Warren Nolan is right, then Arkansas will have a 21-4 record when they visit Florida and conceivably suffer that 5th loss. Think you'd be in the top 25 after what would be a 7-game winning streak?
I think Arkansas fans would. I don't know where the NCAA. Well, I guess it's not NCAA, but I don't know where the AP offices are. But there would be picketers. Razorback fans would fly or drive to wherever that is, and they would be picketing outside for the way that the AP poll, if they made it, keep it out. But looking at it right now, like top 4, yes, you're outside looking at this point. You're tied for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're tied for 7th right now. But, I mean, it's still conceivable this team, if they can kind of muster up some wins these next couple weeks, could make a top 4 in the SEC tournament. And you've talked about this many times in postseason play. This is a team that doesn't necessarily have the depth, per se, to play a bunch of games consecutively and go on a run. You hope that they can do as much as they can beneficially as possible. That means win as many regular season games and then hopefully postseason games in the SEC tournament in order so they don't have to play as many games in Nashville, and then also they get a higher seed in the NCAA tournament so they're not running into a juggernaut in the first or second round.
Jason in Frankfurt says he wished they'd pulled out a win in LSU. That would have been a Tier 1 road win. Absolutely. LSU is ahead of Arkansas in the net rankings, which the last time I looked yesterday, Auburn led the SEC with a net ranking of 20, Kentucky at 21, LSU 25, then Arkansas 28, Florida 37, Bama 41, Mississippi State 48, Tennessee 54, and the rest can just go take a dip in the pond. 877-377-6963. And over the next 45 minutes on Halftime, we've got Matt Jones from the Democrat Gazette. Got some Get Off My Lawn. We're going to talk Arkansas baseball after the break on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Ty Sports Radio. This is the Morning Rush.
I've just got to believe, I'm taking a blind leap of faith, they're going to coach up what they've got. They're going to make what they've got better. And if they can make that offensive line to at least just a below average SEC level, just get them to that, because they haven't been lately. You put those other pieces around them, and you're going to have an offense that can at least approach average maybe in this league. And that would be a giant improvement from where they've been.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
The best TV experience in the nation is available locally with personal service from WOW World of Wireless, your neighborhood professional Dish authorized retailer. Dish has the Hopper 3, the most advanced DVR, and delivers a premium viewing experience. Tired of running out of DVR space? With the Hopper 3, you can record up to 2,000 hours of your favorite programming and watch your very own favorite channels and DVR recording anywhere you go on your phone or tablet. Call now, WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 for more details. Or stop by our location at the corner of Phoenix and Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith, or visit us online at shopwownow.com. Get the Hopper 3 today by calling WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474. Or online at shopwownow.com.
Monthly equipment fees and other restrictions apply. Recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming. Remote viewing requires internet connection and compatible mobile device.
Did someone say, I'm hungry? Visit 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Try the new panini sandwiches like the Chicken Pyro or the Cubana or the signature 906 wings. Jumbo wings roasted with honey bacon jam. Want some spice? Try the black and blue wings. Experience their salads, flatbreads, coffees and desserts, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Treat your appetite on the Avenue.
2020 annual tickets are available at Ben Guerin Golf Course. 18-hole green fees as low as $11.66 per round on a regular unlimited plan. And seniors, juniors, and veterans can play as low as $10.58 per round on the same plan. 18-hole green fee with cart as low as $22.50 per round on an unlimited plan with cart, and seniors, juniors, and veterans can play as low as $20.83 on the same plan. Book your corporate and charitable outings now at Ben Guerin Golf Course.
It's a new year, a time for fresh starts and positive changes. Let us help your vehicle reflect your good vibes by making it look its best. If you find yourself a victim of the winter weather, we will work with your insurance company and help you throughout the process. We offer a lifetime warranty and a complete interior detail with all repairs. We can quickly restore cloudy headlights, making them look like new and brightening your road for better vision on these dark winter nights. Think of us at Evans Body Shop when you need any auto body repairs.
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
What does that mean? It means they are the best of the best.
Okay.
It means that Jody'sAuto.com was voted by the people that deal with them,
Their customers,
as best at first getting the car in one of their 3 shops quickly, finding out what was wrong with it, fixing it right the first time, and charging the customers a fair price for the repairs.
getting it in, getting it out quickly at a fair price. Huh.
Real simple. Jody'sAuto.com. Best of the best.
Jody'sAuto.com. One stop for the best tire brands at the best prices, price match guarantee, and these folks know tires. 3 oil change specials. One stop for all services, all repairs, all maintenance, towing, and fleets. 3 locations, 2 in Fort Smith and 1 in Van Buren. When you have made up your mind to live by 3 words, do what's right, being voted by your customers best of the best is quite an honor. Convenience and trust since 1984. Jody'sAuto.com, best of the best.
This is ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Mason leads the break, feeds Harris, back to Jones in the corner. Joe trails the play. Isaiah for 3 from the left wing. Joe with a tray, 47-33.
All right, today is 17 days away from the start of Arkansas baseball season. I had to get to that before you asked me, Ty, and I wasn't ready for the answer like yesterday.
Yeah, a little disappointed in you.
I was embarrassed at that yesterday because I should have a countdown just, the moment the clock hits midnight, I should, spring up in bed and think, it's another day closer to baseball season. All right. By the way, so let's talk about baseball season. And I even could put this in bombshell territory, but the Astros are apparently in talks to finalize a contract to hire Dusty Baker as their manager, which is, I don't know, to me, that feels like about as far away from A.J. Hinch as you could possibly get. And I know, Dusty's an old school baseball guy, truly old school. He would not do the sign stealing thing for sure. But I also wonder if he's been open to the the new analysis, the new stats and thought process behind him. It's not like he hasn't just been managing recently 2 or 3 years ago with the Nationals, but it's an interesting hire. Anyway, Arkansas baseball, hey, they had a 3-game scrimmage that finished on a Monday. I know that the Hogs do have a 4-game series in the regular season against Gonzaga, and sometimes those 4-gamers end on a Monday. This one won't. It's going to end on a Sunday. So they're not going to be playing baseball on too many Mondays in the college season. In fact, I would venture a guess that Arkansas hasn't played on a Monday at all in the last 3 years. They did because they had to play in the third. That's right. The Super Regional was a 3rd game last year. That went to Monday. All right. Mm-hmm. So it's postseason. They had a scrimmage yesterday. We'll get to some of that stuff with Matt Jones, who was at all 3 Arkansas baseball scrimmages over the weekend.
So let me pose you a question on that note, Phil.
Shoot.
And this might come across as naive and ignorant, but between Arkansas basketball and Arkansas baseball, and I'll take one side, you can take the other, and I know which side you're going to take. Who's going to win a Natty first? And I'll let you go. I'll let you lead off, and then I'll come to bat.
I'm glad this isn't like a conversation about which one do you want first. Let's not get greedy about it.
But who do you?
I think baseball's in a closer position to a national title than basketball, and I think part of the reason here is also, I think they're just year by year fewer competitors, real true competitors for the College World Series than there are in college basketball. You've got like 300 college baseball teams. How many of those are really national championship caliber? And it's not to say that, like the teams that are 1 through 353 in basketball are national title contenders, but it just seems there's a wider field for basketball, and Arkansas baseball is already, they already feel like they're that close to it.
Yeah. Okay, here's my basketball argument. I don't know how fully invested I am in this, but I'll just go about it because
this isn't just one of your conspiracy theories, right? This is a real theory.
It's concocted kind of based on the fact this is a first take / undisputed type theory where the only reason I'm arguing it is because you took one way, so I'm going to go the other. That's fair. All right.
Just for argument's sake.
Yeah, just for argument's sake. I don't know how fully invested I am in it. Basketball-wise, I think basketball is weird because it's just about a team that gets hot. You guys remember the 2011 UConn team?
Sure. Aaron Torres brought them up last week, didn't he?
Exactly. Kimball Walker and Jeremy Lamb, and then you had a later team, UConn team, that just got hot with Shabazz Napier and Ryan Boatright. Basketball is just about getting hot. It's also about good coaching, which Jim Calhoun was the architect of one of those national championships. I think Kevin Ollie was the one that coached them when Shabazz Napier and Ryan Boatright won it. Arkansas-wise, yes, you had a Hall of Fame coach in Nolan Richardson, but that team just got hot. They had 3 losses that year. Alabama by 2, Mississippi State by 2, and they lost to Kentucky in the SEC tournament. And you have great players. But I think with basketball, it's just about a team that gets hot. And I think that Arkansas-wise, yes, I know they're a blue blood in college baseball, but you were once a blue blood in college basketball. And this is where I'm really...
part of the question is, how close are you to being blue blood basketball again?
That's a great question.
Is it the incoming talent that's coming in next year, the number 4 rated recruiting class? Because that's what's keeping Arkansas baseball so close to feeling like they are national championship caliber this year. That doesn't mean they're going to win the whole thing. But when you have this sort of reload mentality every year, like you see from Alabama football, from Clemson football, from Duke basketball, Kentucky basketball, Arkansas baseball is in that category. One recruiting class for basketball that can sometimes be enough to catapult you towards a national title, and then who knows what sort of cycle you're in.
You're exactly right. It's a lot different from baseball when you have to, if you play 3 years, and then depending on age, you play 2. Just the different variances of that. But basketball-wise, you get one good recruiting class or even like a player or two sometimes, and you're good to go. You can potentially be a national championship contender. And I think with baseball, and this is where I'm really very not belief. I'm not going to say they had their best chance 2 years ago, Phil, but as close as they came, and I know that you just have some of the same players on that team, as close as they came, sometimes there's a leveling off point, and there's just this idea out there that if you come to a certain point where you just almost achieve, you almost get there, people automatically assume, oh, you can get back easy next year because this team came so close. Well, we saw last year's team, they got to the College World Series, but they were bounced after 2 games. That's not always the case. It always worries me that team was as close as it gets in college baseball history to winning a national title, and they weren't able to clinch it. And that's not speaking just to Arkansas baseball. That's Arkansas sports in general. We don't have to go over this diatribe again, but it's just the hog's going to hog, Arkansas does Arkansas mentality sometimes, which it's ingrained in your head based on recent history that's happened not only in my lifetime but previous lifetimes as well.
The difference also is too, and you got to be careful about how you phrase athletes' desires to win championships for their coaches, because any good coach is going to engender that sort of admiration and in some senses, I want to win this thing for the coach. Some players despise their coaches and win in spite of them anyway.
Yeah.
That's not Dave Van Horn, nor do I think it's Eric Musselman. But Dave's got 17 years on Muss at Arkansas. Muss was coaching, by the way, back in the minors and in the NBA when Dave was at Nebraska, or I think his early years at Arkansas when Muss first was a head coach at the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have national championships. Dave does at Division II, but not where he's been in Division I for these last 21 years. The rallying cry, and you saw it in Clay Henry's story in Whole Hog yesterday, as Clay continues to churn out great stuff about baseball. Connor Nolan, he's talking to Connor Nolan, and Nolan made the point because he seems to be a little bit of a leader on this team. You do have a tradition of leadership now, I think, year after year in Arkansas baseball. I think that's been instilled by Dave. Connor says the one thing that's missing from the program is a national championship, and he didn't say for Arkansas. He said for Coach Van Horn. he said for Dave Van Horn. And that's like the rallying cry that you hear. You see it in national college baseball media. They talk about the thought that this coach is too good to retire without winning one. I don't think that, to me, Dave's story's written as one of the greatest coaches in the sport's history, with or without a national title, but the national title definitely puts you up at a certain level.
You don't want him to wind. Who's the Florida State coach that just retired? That
Mike Martin.
That's
exactly right.
You don't want him to wind up like Mike Martin, where what 9 College World Series, 8. It was an insane number. I remember. Maybe it's more than that, but you don't want him to be in that category where yes, he's revered as one of the best college baseball coaches of all time, but he didn't get that elusive title.
And there's a but.
Yeah, there doesn't need to be a but. You just again. It's easier said than done. Win a national championship before you retire, but it's just tough. And it's whichever team does it. And I'm out of the possibility. I just don't think football team where they are right now is going to do it in my lifetime. But if it's baseball or basketball, that's not only the team that got over that team's hump. That's the team that got over the Arkansas hump. The idea that this program, regardless of sport,
does away with the Chicken Little thing.
Yeah, exactly.
The sky's always falling.
So, like with Arkansas basketball, you and I always joke about the Nolan Richardson curse. That's gone. His name's on the court. Now this team can get back to being a blue blood in college basketball. We'll see if it actually happens. But is there a curse in baseball, Phil? I know you're not a
for the baseball
guy.
team for this program.
I
don't know.
Is there a curse that Arkansas baseball fans like the lore surrounding it? Like they feel like that unless this particular thing is done, this team's not going to win a natty?
I don't know of any goats or any pianos that were thrown in lakes for Arkansas baseball. I don't know of anything quite like that. I don't know. Maybe taking the lagoon out of the past the fence in right center. Where they've pretty much sucked up the entire lagoon to break ground on the new baseball performance center. Maybe there's some curse inside that lagoon.
And now it's gone. Okay.
And hopefully now it's gone. All right. So maybe that first national title comes this year. Arkansas is much closer in baseball for winning a national championship right now. And I think one of the reasons why Jason in Frankfurt texts us, one of the reasons, and I think it's the same thing, is even if Arkansas football was in a good position now, that they still are going up against recruiting machines in their own division, like Alabama, like LSU, like Auburn. And Jason says when you're in the same conference as Kentucky with repeated top 5 recruiting classes, that's a vote against basketball. I will say, though, nobody else really, recruits to that level year after year in the SEC. I think you saw it with Tennessee this year. Can you keep that going? It's the same thing with Musselman's coaching staff now. Now that you've got this number 4 rated recruiting class coming in next year, can you keep it going? Arkansas baseball continues to be top 5 recruiting classes, top 10, year after year. All right, we'll be talking pretty heavy baseball in the next segment with Matt Jones from the Democrat Gazette. He was at all 3 baseball scrimmages, so we'll get his thoughts. Connor Nolan's velocity, Patrick Wicklander's stuff, Casey Martin's strikeouts and errors, and all that sort of stuff coming up right after this.
Shooters shoot. You're listening to Halftime.
What it's doing to me ain't a secret.
New Bud Light Seltzer, huh?
Yep.
And it tastes like a hard seltzer, not a beer?
Yep.
So it's light and refreshing?
Yep.
With a hint of fruit flavor?
Yep.
And 100 calories?
Yep.
You said this is Bud Light Seltzer?
Yep.
Well, I need to try it.
Yep.
Oh, that tastes great.
Yep.
Now, wait, are you just yupping me?
Nope.
Bud Light Seltzer, unquestionably good. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Seltzer, IRC Beers, beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Hi, this is Melissa with True Grit Running Company. We love it when a new year rolls around. It's a clean slate and a chance to start over. Who doesn't love that? We want to help you make 2020 your year. Come in, share your goals with us, and we'll help you achieve them. Not only do we have the best running products, but we have the know-how, the connections, and events to get you started and keep you going. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for all the fun happenings at True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
Make Valentine's weekend special for you and your wife, girlfriend, or family by making reservations now at Doe's Eat Place in Fort Smith. Enjoy award-winning steaks and atmosphere, along with delicious appetizers and the region's largest selection of wines, beers, and liquors. Doe's Eat Place is your premier steakhouse in Fort Smith and the River Valley, located at 422 North 3rd Street. Open 5 till 9 Monday through Thursday and 5 till 10 Friday and Saturday. Make Valentine's a memorable experience this year at Doe's Eat Place.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents. You'll proudly mow the lawn. Ask if anybody noticed you mowed the lawn. Tell people to stay off the lawn. Compare it to your neighbor's lawn. And complain about having to mow the lawn again. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance, which, of course, will go right into the lawn. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Bailey, Adrio for 3. How about that? Bailey with a 3 at 64-48. Adrio Bailey's making three-pointers tonight.
So we talked about it yesterday. I went to the Arkansas baseball scrimmage Saturday before the TCU basketball game. They had to shorten the scrimmage because the team had to get ready to go over the basketball game. And I got to watch about 6 innings. And I don't know what really you can gather from a baseball team in just 6 innings. So let's talk with somebody who watched the entire weekend and gets paid to do it. It's Matt Jones from the Democrat Gazette. Matt, what's up? How you doing?
Hey, Phil. How are you guys?
Fired up, man. 18 days until baseball season starts, but it really did start this last weekend. So I don't know exactly. Let's see where to start. To me, this is a lineup that is going to produce. It's like a given year in, year out, at least over these last 3 seasons, that this is a team that's going to score. The question, and it's not a question mark, where are the innings coming from? You know who your Friday, Saturday guys are, Nolan Wicklander, and pretty much everything else after that as far as pitching goes is up in the air.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably true. I think you can kind of get a feel for watching the scrimmages the last few days, who they're looking at maybe and in what roles. Matt Hobbs has told me previously that he wants to have 6 starting pitchers developed, not necessarily going to be guys who are always going to be starting. Maybe some never start, but guys that he feels comfortable going into the season, that these 6 can be my guys. And I'd say right now, Wicklander and Noland obviously are your top 2. I would say that probably Kevin Kopps and Cole Ramage are battling for that 3rd weekend starter spot. And then I'd say the other 2 pitchers, based on what we saw this weekend and how they used them, are probably going to be Blake Adams, a freshman from Spring Hill Harbor, and Caleb Bolden, who had Tommy John surgery last year. I think those are probably the 6 that they're looking at potentially as their starters. I think you might throw Caden Monk, sophomore left-hander, into that mix. He had a really good fall. And then really the other question is at the back end, who do you use? Right now, the thought process is that it's probably going to be Zebulon Vermillion would be the starter, or not the starter, but the leading candidate to be the closer. And a couple of others, maybe a Mark Adamiak, who's a really good freshman pitcher. He's shown velocity up into the 95-mile-an-hour range. Jacob Burton, who I think has been clocked at about 98 and has finally got some command with that fastball. And then Elijah Trest, who's a hard-throwing right-hander. So those are the guys that I was really interested to watch pitch this weekend and just see how they used them. And they used them in about the roles that I thought they would. What I'm interested to see, Phil, is whether or not they can have a conference or a starter established by conference that's maybe not Kevin Kopps or Cole Ramage, because they've been so good in that relief role. And, you saw last year, whether it be Kosti Shock or Cody Scroggins and what he did in Game 3 of the Super Regional. It's so valuable to have that middle reliever who come in and maybe throw 4 or 5 innings for you, and those are the types of pitchers that could do that. So is there somebody else that can come in and develop and maybe take them out of a starting role? That'll be something interesting to watch, not only before the season starts, but even over those first 3 or 4 weeks.
And as far as name recognition or star power, as far as that goes in college baseball sense, I mean, this team has star power with Casey Martin and Heston Kjerstad. They both look like surefire first-round picks, but right now you're not worried about where they're getting picked. You're worried about how they produce for Arkansas. And for both of them, and maybe Casey Martin more than most. I know he had a rough weekend batting over the weekend. I still saw issues chasing breaking pitches in the dirt. And I mean, if I'm an opposing coach, I don't know if I throw Casey a fastball all season.
Yeah, you saw that on the first day, and then I think it wasn't so much the final 2 days. He was making contact yesterday. I believe he made contact on all 4 of the outs that he had. Casey's still coming back from that broken bone in his hand, and I think that's affecting him some. And I think that might even affect him some. In the early part of the year. But yeah, that was something that jumped out to me the first day, was that a couple of his strikeouts, or maybe they weren't strikeouts, but you could see him chasing those off-speed pitches down in the dirt. And I have a feeling he's going to see a steady diet of that this year.
Talking with Matt Jones of Whole Hog and the ADG here on Halftime. Matt, I know that Dudley and Richard are more on the recruiting side of things, but I know you stay with it in terms of Arkansas baseball. Is there any kid that's either going to be up here this year as a freshman or in the upcoming years that just from the Arkansas baseball circuit that you're really excited to see play at the collegiate level?
Yeah, probably about 20 of them. I mean, they're recruiting at a level that I have not seen them recruit previously. When Todd Butler was here, they recruited really well. When Tony Vitello was here, they recruited really well. But I think what you've seen with this combination of first Nate Thompson and Wes Johnson, and then now Nate Thompson and Matt Hobbs, is at a level of recruiting that I haven't seen. And you got to throw Dave Van Horn in there too, because I think he recruits more than most head coaches do in college baseball. It's not uncommon for him to jump in his truck and drive 5 hours and spend a day or 2 on the road, recruiting in that manner. So I mean, there's too many to name. There are a lot of. I think the freshman class that's on campus right now is getting overlooked because of what they're doing in recruiting in 2021 and in 2020. But I think that there are some really good freshmen on campus right now who are going to have a chance to help them for a long time down the road. Players like Jesse Pierce, who I think is a really good infielder from Las Vegas. And then there's a number of pitchers, whether it be Mark Adamiak, I mentioned him earlier. I think he's got a chance to be really good. Blake Adams, who's from Springdale. Zach Morris is a left-hander from Cabot, who I thought pitched really well the other day. Will McIntyre from Bryant was a real eye-opener for me yesterday. He threw 4 innings and struck out 6 batters, and the only runs he gave up were a couple of home runs to Heston Kjerstad. No shame in that. And they've got a lot of freshman pitchers who I think could be really good for them. They've got a couple of freshman catchers, Dominic Temez and Kason Tillett, who I think could be really good for them. So, don't sleep on this freshman class who's on campus right now as you're paying attention to these, number 1 and number 2 and number 3 rated classes that they have in the next 2 or 3 years.
So, Matt, I was talking to my brother-in-law who actually played with Dallas Keuchel in high school at Bishop Kelly, and one of the reasons he told me he went to Arkansas is because he played in a tournament in Baum Stadium. It's already a consensus top 5, top 3 baseball stadium in college baseball, depending on who you ask. With the addition of this new facility on the right side, is that going to elevate it to being the number 1 ballpark consensus in college baseball?
I don't know if it will. I mean, Mississippi State's doing a lot of things with their ballpark, and a lot of people like LSU. And, I mean, you can go around the SEC. I saw something where A&M is doing something to Bluebell Park soon that's going to completely change the look of it or really enhance it. I think what it'll do is it's going to help them in recruiting. And, that's one of those. You have 2 different types of, facility upgrades. You have the type that help the fans, and then you have the type that, really only the athletes and the people who work within the program are able to see. And that's what that $27 million building is going to be. There will be some loge seating. There'll be a museum in there where fans can go around and walk around on game day. But for the most part, it's going to be for recruiting and a lot of the things that they're going to be able to sell recruits. They're going to be able to say, hey, look, we've got top of the line this and that, and you're not going to be able to find that. And then you couple that with that baseball atmosphere that they get on most of their game days, then it becomes a really good selling point.
I watched Robert Moore for 6 innings, and in the field he looked like he's ready to play second base right now for this team. I know he homered yesterday. What were your impressions of watching a 17-year-old who's supposed to be playing high school baseball and how good he could be for this team this year?
I'll tell you who he reminds me of a little bit is Alex Bregman when he was young at LSU. Very quick hands. I mean, he says he's got as quick hands as I've seen them have in their middle infield here. And at the bat or at the plate, I think he's got a pretty good bat. You mentioned the home run that he had yesterday. It was an opposite field home run, but he also had a triple yesterday that got down into the corner in the right field corner of the stadium, and he raced around and there was a throw, but he beat the throw real easily, and so he's got a lot of speed. He adds a lot of speed, adds a real defensive presence to this team, and assuming he's going to play, and I think that's probably a safe assumption right now. He's probably going to bat down in the order somewhere 8, 9, and as he develops as a hitter, maybe he becomes a lot better hitter by the end of the year. Then all of a sudden you start talking about that second leadoff guy that can pair well with Braden Webb, another newcomer who I think is going to be really good for him. And if Robert Moore is the worst hitter on your team, you've got a pretty good lineup.
That's well said. All right, Matt, appreciate you, man. I know you'll be watching scrimmage this weekend, so we'll be reading about it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Matt Jones, Democrat Gazette. He's become the baseball specialist. It's not to say that Bob and Tom aren't. You're great baseball guys, but and Clay too. But Matt Jones has become sort of the baseball specialist at the DG.
And I think he summed up at the end of the interview great when he was talking about Robert Moore, saying if he's your worst hitter, I think you're gonna have a decent season this year. That's still insane. That is mind-boggling that a kid that is 8 years younger than me is about to start for the Arkansas Razorbacks in the baseball diamond. It's unbelievable, man.
18 days away, and of course you'll hear every game of Arkansas baseball here on your ESPN Arkansas affiliate. All right, one more segment, 877-377-6963. If you got to get off my lawn for today, I've got one involving baseball, and I think Ty wants to take me to the woodshed involving something else. We'll come right back.
When in doubt, expense it. You're listening to Halftime.
The 2019s must go. Save up to $15,000 now at Harry Robinson's Sallisaw Ford. 2019 Ford Expedition with the all-new body style. Now $15,000 off. 2019 Ford Escapes, only $24,230. And 2019 Ford F-150 4x4s, over $10,000 off. The 2019s must go. Up to $15,000 off at Harry Robinson's Sallisaw Ford. 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Sallisaw. The big end of the hunting season sale is underway at Jelco Outdoors. Deer hunters and duck hunters, you can bag some huge savings right now at Jelco Outdoors while they last. Save on clothing, footwear, waders, decoys, scents, rifles, shotguns, bows, crossbows, and lots of accessory items for all your deer and duck hunting trips. Don't miss the end of season sale at Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith.
What's your family's security worth to you? Have you put off adding a security system to your home for another year? Or are you just waiting for someone to break in to be that final straw? Use your income tax return to add a security system to your home for as little as $495 and $15.95 a month. Guardtronic has a package to help secure your home. Call today for a free estimate, 479-785-2323, or visit the website, guardtronic.com. License EO50.
Look your best with Perfecto Cleaners at the bottom of Fiena Hills. Count on same-day service, easy drive-through covered drop-off and pickup window, and fast turnaround on alterations. Perfecto Cleaners always goes the extra mile to ensure your clothes look their best, making you look your best. Be sure to clip their coupons in the yellow pages, and as always, in by 9 and out by 5 Monday through Friday. Perfecto Cleaners, just off Jenny Lind at the bottom of Fiena Hills. Perfecto Cleaners, making you look your best.
Tri-Hill Turf offers the highest quality turf and pest services. Hey, you say those are big words. Well, let's see. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has a company agronomist, state and nationally certified technicians, free soil testing, and they even have precision GPS guided application equipment. Now that's high tech. For over 30 years, Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has used the latest application technology, and they strive for turf and pest excellence. They are your local turf and pest experts. Call the local team at 782-0404. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest.
To call yourself an explorer, you should possess a few essential qualities, like a yearning for adventure and back massages from available multi-contour front seats with 5 active motion massage themes, and an available 980-watt 14-speaker B&O sound system by Bang & Olufsen, and an available heated leather-wrapped steering wheel with paddle shifters. The 2020 Ford Explorer, completely redesigned and more comfortable than ever. It's the greatest exploration vehicle of all time.
Gold, did you know that Gatorade Zero has all the same electrolytes but with zero sugar?
I did know that because I drank some Gatorade Zero after I ran 2 miles at the gym this morning.
2? Please, I ran 3.
Did I mention I also was on a 6 incline?
You didn't, but that's interesting because that's 2 less than I was on.
Were you also running backwards? Because I was.
No.
Gatorade Zero, all the electrolytes with zero sugar, so you can get more out of zero.
Does this sound like you?
Or is this more like it?
Or maybe your inner biker sounds like...
No matter what motorcycle motor is music to your ears, Shelter Insurance has a policy that's music to your wallet.
Shelter insures your fun stuff. Motorcycles to riding mowers, ATVs to RVs, bikes to bass boats. If it rides, rolls, or floats, we can cover it. Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask Shelter agents Randy Milam or Brad Howe about a free insurance review.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Behind the back, whip it, and finish for Bailey. Oh, Jalen Harris with hot sauce. If I could.
877-377-6963 to close up shop today with our cherry on the top being Get Off My Lawn.
I'd appreciate if he would address me as Colonel or Sir. I believe I've earned it.
Do not you what? Off my presence with authority.
Oh, man.
You're not going to amount to jack squat.
Get off my lawn.
I can't help but just smile ear to ear when he hears Matt Foley.
It's so great, man. That is such a, and it took me, I guess John showed it to me when I was 24 years old last year. I don't know how I went 24 years old, 24 years of my life without seeing that SNL skit. And the funniest part, like we often talk about, is Spade and David Spade and
Christina
Applegate.
Yeah, they have to conceal their laughter.
They're trying. She's like covering her face because she can't even
Well, she had the length of hair to actually cover her face successfully. Spade did not.
Yeah, and so and that's just prime SNL, man. Just fantastic.
Before I get to my Get Off My Lawn, Chandler in Fayetteville asked if Robert Moore can be what Christian Franklin was offensively last year, or can he be better? I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know Franklin, he had some pretty big hits last year batting in the 9 hole. I think Moore will be your number 9 batter. I guess I just would be a little surprised if somebody at 17 years old is raking in the SEC West. But then again, he's here for a reason. He might be better than Christian Franklin, honestly, at least last year. I think, and of all the hitters that you'll have in the lineup this year, the one who's returning who can take the biggest step forward is Christian Franklin. I think Casey Opitz can take a big step forward. Jacob Nesbitt can too. But Franklin has there's something about his strength, his speed, his compact swing. I think Christian Franklin could end up being, I don't know if I'd put him at the best hitter because Kjerstad is the best hitter on this team, but Franklin will be pretty close.
And with Franklin, is his more natural position is it center field?
And he will be playing. I would assume he'll be playing a lot of center field this year, if not every inning, like Dominic Fletcher did.
Yeah. So sometimes it just takes getting into more of a natural role. Like this team for basketball, for example, you've had Mason Jones having to play the 4 when he's more of a natural 2/3, and sometimes it just takes like getting into what you feel like fits more to just perform in other areas as well. So maybe that'll be the case.
Carl from Lavaca texted in a Get Off My Lawn, and he says hammer the over, and he sends us I guess there's the over-under line for the national anthem length from Demi Lovato has come out official. Is this official?
Yes.
1 minute, 56 seconds. Hammer the over. No question. It's the Super Bowl, for crying out loud. And I think Lovato will go over 2 minutes.
Relative.
So add another 4 seconds, and I'll still take the over.
Are you going to pay up on your bet, though?
You mean on this Reaper squeezins I've got to digest?
No, I'm just talking about bets in general. Are you gonna, if you bet on that, would you pay up on it?
Oh, on that one?
Yeah.
I don't know. Who am I betting against? What is it that I'm putting on the line?
I don't know.
I put up last year. I put on the line having to jump into freezing cold water, and I didn't.
Through.
Well, I went with that one. I did follow through, and it was about the turn of the month from January into February when I dunked myself into Lake Beaver. Or Beaver Lake. So I guess maybe at some point next week I can find some Reaper squeezins and put it in a little medicine dropper and dip them on my tongue. Right? That's what you want. Scald my tongue so I can't do a basketball broadcast.
You got to eat like wings or tenders, buddy.
See, you want it to even be worse. You don't even want it to scald my tongue.
That's what we agreed upon.
He wants a hole in my esophagus, ulcers to form in my stomach, not just one or two, but I mean a series of them. And basically just wants to fill in for the play-by-play of whatever game I'm supposed to do that.
You talk about
You're trying to hurt me.
People turning off the radio like that. Me and Bubba, not that Bubba's, because Bubba's as good as a color guy when it comes to Arkansas baseball as it gets, but listening to me try and play-by-play a baseball game would be an utter failure.
I'm going to make Bubba do the play-by-play. I'm going to walk out of the booth and just say, you take this in there, Bubba, and see what happens. I think that'd be pretty entertaining.
And the insight that I would give would just be riveting. I'm just, by riveting I mean abysmal.
So I take it that your Get Off My Lawn is to me, right?
Yeah.
Because I haven't eaten these. I mean, you want me to eat like what? 4 chicken tenders or 6 wings, whatever a regular order would be at a restaurant, just doused in basically nuclear waste?
I was disappointed because we talked about, hey, I'll lighten up the load, just eat 3 tenders of Shut the Clock Up in Hattie B's in Nashville, and on Monday morning you just came back.
I was there with the lovely lady. I mean, do you really think
I
want to do that to
her?
You want me to do
you
you want me to do that to myself when I'm sharing a bed and sharing a hotel room and sharing a restroom with a woman, okay?
Listen.
The one that I'm still trying to impress even after, like 17 months.
Whose relationship started first? Ours on this show or hers?
They started at the same time.
No, it started
pretty much like the same day.
A little bit earlier.
Are you trying to put yourself ahead of her? You see what this
I
happens?
am ahead of her.
It finally took you 18 months to drop the guilt bomb on me. This is exactly what happens in relationships. To get to this point, you are dropping the guilt bomb on me.
I'm gonna get a text from her, just laughing emojis directed at me because that is true.
Aaron in Clarksville says yes. That's exactly what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to eat the Shut the Cluck Up. Doesn't matter if I'm sharing a bathroom with her because that's how I know if she really loves me. Right? She loves me, so she's not going to let me do this in front of her. She cares about me too much. That's the direction I'll go with it.
So, I mean, are you gonna? So what's the deal? Are you gonna backtrack from this altogether? Are you
I'm going to do it. I will admit I have fear over this, legitimate fear, not of eating something spicy, but eating something that will legitimately hurt me.
It's only
where I. It's
only 2 million on the whatever.
Oh, anything that's over 1 million of anything is too much of it.
What's the scaling in terms of the hotness? What's it called again?
The Scoville unit.
The Scoville. It's only 2
the Reaper squeezins is like 2.1 million Scoville units.
I tried to. Yeah, Eric says a bet is bet. Listen. I was trying to go easy on you. We looked up what Hattie B's Shut the Cluck Up was, and I got to say that really slow so I don't say the wrong thing there. And it was like 1 million. I was like, dude, do this. Eat 3 of them. You're good to go.
Well, it's too late. It's too late. All right. All right. We're going to tomorrow when I join women's basketball in Tuscaloosa. I'm not going to do it with him. You actually have to visualize this. This has to happen in front of you.
No, I mean, I didn't see it firsthand. But I got the full effect.
You got the video, or I admitted my hatred of you.
You're welcome. I'm going to leave this up to you. You're welcome to either have someone video you doing it, or you can do it when you come in studio next. I know you're going to be here tomorrow, but timing, I don't want to do that with the basketball game coming up. But you pick if you want to do it in front of me or you just want to take a video. It might be better if you're just at your house by yourself. You set up a little selfie cam. You do it. You don't have to worry about anyone saying yes or like doing whatever. That's how I would do it. But you
know what I'm going to do to you? I'm going to do what Reggie Jackson did to Charlie Finley when he came off the bench in 1971. I don't know if you follow this. Joe Posnanski's doing a great.
Is it a finger? Middle finger?
There's a little that goes along with it. Posnanski's has this great series of articles in The Athletic, the top 100 players in Major League history. And the one I read this morning was about Reggie Jackson, number 59, the straw that stirs the drink, Mr. October. So Jackson, when he's playing for the Athletics in 71, Charlie Finley's the owner, and he's like he's terrible. He's everything that you would probably hate out of owner. This was the guy that was paying players to grow mustaches and did everything he possibly could to keep the reserve clause, which basically had players as being indentured servants, including Jackson, who wouldn't sign for $35,000. He thought he deserved $60,000 after hitting 47 homers during the 1969 season. So he and Finley end up with this big back and forth. Jackson got him to sign a contract where Finley gave him a stipend for an Oakland apartment, okay? All it said was Oakland apartment, so it didn't say what kind of an apartment or how much of a stipend it was. So Jackson got a luxury apartment next door to Finley and had him pay for it. He ends up with starting a terrible It starts terribly in 70 or 71. I forget the exact year. Finley has him benched, has his best player benched. And Jackson's having this miserable season. So after sitting the bench for 6 straight days in front of 10,000 people or less at Oakland Coliseum, he's ordered to pinch hit in the 9th inning of a 1-run game and promptly hits a grand slam, right?
Love that.
So as Jackson's coming around the bases, he looks up into the owner's box, and Finley's up there smiling and applauding, as Posnanski wrote, as if he had something to do with the grand slam. So as Reggie comes to home plate, steps on the plate, gives him the one-finger salute, and screams up to him as loudly as he possibly could the words that go along with the single-finger salute. All right?
Oh, man.
If that isn't a reverse get off my lawn, I don't know what is. And that's what I'm going to have to drop on you next week when I suck down these Reaper squeezes.
Oh, man. I wish. Is there video of that? Is there video, like highlights or something?
1970, probably
It's probably
not.
very
a lot of newspaper
distorted.
accounts.
Man.
And that's it. Yeah, Jackson was one of a kind. He really was.
I mean, there's certain owners that you take the side of the player over the owner. I think in the case of Jerry Krause and Michael Jordan, Krause was like, I remember he said something, it was like, organizations win championships or whatever, and Michael and Scotty and Phil were like, basically in the exact same thing, blank you, finger and all that, because they didn't have a good relationship. I hadn't heard that story. That's great. That's like a halftime homework rolled in to get off my lawn, Phil.
It's really good when we can combine our two favorite segments. All right, so lots to get to tomorrow. Preview in Arkansas and South Carolina. Clay Henry will join us, Bill King for college football chat, and you as well. Thanks for joining us on this Yuck Tuesday. For Ty, I'm Phil. Get up, get out, and get better.